everybody wants to get united. Like, what we gotta do is meet everybody on 149th Street at the bench.
Before wild style became a term in graffiti, it was one Bronx rider's way of living. Tracy 168 didn't just paint trains. He kind of turned trains and New York by extension into a worldwide phenomenon. So if you really want to understand why New York City graffiti back in those times became bigger and stronger culturally, then we really have to start with him. Now let me be clear, Tracy 168 is not the first graffiti artist, but he was the first or one of the first people to really make it a mission to tag trains. Tracy 168 was born February 14th, 1958 in Manhattan, and he spent his childhood split not only between Manhattan, but also between the Bronx. Now in one interview he says that he got the urge to do graffiti really early, and while the genesis of that urge may not have started with letters, he found himself writing on walls of his house at 4 years old with crayons. Now by his own account, he also states that he first hit the streets and the trains back in 1969, the year specifically when the Mets won the World Series. At that point he was 11 years old. Now some might say this is when he really got into graffiti. This is when things really started to kind of kick off and take their shape more so in the form of graffiti that we recognize today. One of Tracy's best memories, at least as far as graffiti is concerned, was when him and FJC4 were going around delivering legal papers in Queens, and Tracy pulls a marker out and does a tag on the train, expecting to never see this tag again. I wouldn't say he forgot about it, but he once again never expected this same exact train, this tag, would be rolling past him later on that same day. So he comes back to the train, he sees it, and he's like, what is this? Holy crap! There's another tag beside his tag. Almost like a game of telephone, as if they were communicating from totally different parts of the city. This right here infatuated Tracy 168. He loved this idea of communicating with people that he may never see. As he put it, graffiti was a conversation moving through the city. For him, this was a lighter-hearted, more joyful and expressive way to navigate New York, when at the time, New York was in a much darker place, with veterans coming back to the city, protests happening in the streets, the territorial street lifestyle from gangs, and the overall decline of certain areas in the city. All of these culminated in him feeling a little bit more rebellious, defiant, but expressive, which that part is important for graffiti. Now a word from today's sponsor, myself. Dudes, if you guys have been stuck in graffiti, if you've been struggling to get better, you feel like you're in a bit of a rut, we'll teach you all about style, how it works, exactly what it is. We'll teach you how to flow, we'll teach you all about letter structures and a secret bunch of letter structures that hasn't really been taught anywhere. We'll teach you everything you need to know about the science behind graffiti. The best part is we do this with hundreds of pictures throughout the book that'll help hold your hand through the learning process. And better yet, the book is really easy to understand, despite having as much information as it has. Meaning you can pick it up and with one very easy read through, you'll have decades worth of information once you've finished from cover to cover. So join the thousands of writers that have benefited from this book by checking out digital copies in the description down below over at theartistblock.inc, with physical copies over on Amazon. Let's get back to the video. By the early 1970s, Tracy was no longer a hobbyist. At this point, he's setting out like targeted missions for certain train lines. He's planning and plotting where he's gonna hit next and when. One of those train lines being the 4 line. Now, other interviews and other people who talk about Tracy 168 say that he was credited a lot for hitting up the IRT, IND, and the BMT lines. Now, there was one apparently close person to Tracy 168 that says that his predominant lines were the D lines, the 4s, the 5s, and the 2s. As you can see, a lot of different people that looked into the history of graffiti and that were there when it happened place Tracy at a wide variety of spots across the city. Meaning, even this early on, Tracy was getting up a ton. Everybody who was anybody in the graffiti community was seeing his name. Pedestrians included, they were also seeing his name no matter where you went. And because of this, he was described as a true pioneer because he was one of the only people that was getting up to this scale across the city, further helping to popularize the act of hitting trains. Tracy himself says that in the early 1970s, his name was on every IRT train that pulled into the station, meaning at that time, he was all city. Now, most of Tracy's important train work happened between 1972 and 1976. Within that time span, it didn't take him very long to go from just doing your average tags and simple pieces to doing more sophisticated work at the time. Things that were seen as revolutionary. More sophisticated colors, more detailed pieces, things that in the eyes of his peers were making him a more prominent figure. Stuff that other people weren't doing at the time, or at least not all that commonly. Around the same period, graffiti crews become a bit of a thing for Tracy 168, where Wanted gets founded in 1974, with Wild Style coming shortly after in 1975. At the time, back in those days when Tracy was hitting the trains with these crews, Tracy says that Wanted was the biggest graffiti crew at the time. And rocking with Tracy were some pretty big names. In his crews, he had people like Cliff, LSD, Peanut, King 2, Chi-Chi 133, and plenty of others. This Wild Style crew, and the terminology that kind of derived as a result of that, is one of Tracy 168's biggest contributions to graffiti. It's one of the reasons why he's so prolific. In his own words, he describes how wild means untamed, while style means that he has class. Almost like a controlled chaos, if you will. And that matters because he wasn't just defining wild style as a hard-to-read lettering style for graffiti, like we do oftentimes today. He was describing wild style more as your conduct, your presence, and how you construct yourself. The kind of person you build yourself to be in graffiti, the kind of writer you want to be. Now, stylistically, Tracy 168 described wild style once again much as like what we see it today, where you have a lot of interlocking, heavily detailed letters. What he described more as being mechanical. And this is important because he didn't single-handedly create all complex pieces, and he doesn't try to take credit for that. But he really named and personified not only that style of graffiti, but also a lot of the qualities that we admire and try to embody as writers nowadays. Now, stylistically, Tracy's work stands out for more than just the interlocking letters and the fill-ins that he was doing at the time. They also stand out because he's credited for being one of the first, if not the first, person to start implementing more sophisticated cartoon characters alongside his graffiti. This gave him an extra edge in the eyes of other graffiti artists because not only was he able to take it to that next level of, doing more detailed pieces with detailed characters integrated into the piece, but he was also able to kick it down a notch and do your basic straight letters and your more billboard style letters and do simpler pieces, and people describe him as doing 20 of those a night, taking him roughly 10 minutes a piece. So that right there gave him the versatility to really go all city while also impressing people, not sacrificing quality for quantity. On top of all of these acclaimed feats that Tracy already has, he's also credited with doing numerous whole cars, helping to establish a scenic whole car as part of the culture. Now this was huge. If you were hitting whole cars back then, it was a showstopper. Everybody, pedestrians, riders alike, they would stop and really appreciate, or hate in the case of some pedestrians, the whole cars that were rolling by. The artwork on these things was immaculate, no matter who was doing the whole car, and Tracy had multiple of those. Now those were no easy feat. Pulling those off was definitely a mission. So to have multiple, once again, not only further cemented the whole car scene in graffiti, but it also cemented him in the history books. This inspired other writers. This showed other writers that at the time were just doing outlines, straight letters, hand styles, things of that nature. It showed them that graffiti could be a whole scene. It could be a whole entire world that you craft in your drawing, in your painting. It ignited the imaginations of graffiti artists all across the city, and it inspired them to try and do the same. Now, in true wild style fashion, Tracy 168 talks about how graffiti has this air of urgency, danger, and really a survival that goes along with writing. In one interview, describing graffiti as being the first or only art form where you could lose your life doing graffiti. And this once again speaks to why he made wild style and how he really embodied that and lived that. If he wasn't taking risks, if there wasn't danger, then he just wasn't enjoying it as much. Now, by the late 1970s, Tracy 168 began creating artistic jobs for himself, appearing in museums such as the Brooklyn Museum, doing mural work in general, and various other projects that he did. And I think what's important about this detail here is that Tracy 168 is one of the few graffiti pioneers to bridge the gap from graffiti to the fine art world without actually leaving the essence of graffiti behind. He kind of brought all of that to the fine art world as opposed to just bringing himself and then changing what he did to cater to the fine art world. And this process lasted deep into the 2010s. He even went as far as to do lectures as well. But one of the most important things to understand about Tracy is his impact on the graffiti community, especially back in those times. We wouldn't have the graffiti we have today. We may not even have graffiti culturally the way that we have it had it not been for Tracy. A lot of other old school graffiti writers credit him as being their inspiration. They credit him for being why they wanted to go ahead and start, why they wanted to go ahead and continue. They credit him for showing them the possibilities of this beautiful art form. As a matter of fact, he's even credited as a mentor figure for not only Keith Haring, but also Basquiat. And although his life has come to an end at this point, his influence is still felt throughout graffiti and its culture today. And that's also kind of the purpose of this video, is to teach the new generation of the giants whose shoulders we stand on. But dudes, that just about wraps up today's video. If you enjoyed this video, let me know with a like. As always with these kind of more historical videos, if I got anything wrong, if you know Tracy 168 and you know more about his story that maybe I wasn't accurate in or that you'd like to add details on, you're always more than welcome to let me know down below or in my email. email, and we could chat about that stuff there. Don't forget to check out our Ultimate Graffiti Guidebook in the description down below. We have digital copies over at the artistblock.inc with physical copies over on Amazon. It's helped out thousands of people, and you can be one of them. Also, dudes, thank you guys for the birthday wishes over the past 2 videos. I really appreciate it. I mean, I had an amazing birthday. I don't want to spend too much time in this video gushing about, you know, how my birthday was, but it was amazing. It was made that much better by you guys. So thank you for all the well wishes, not only here, but on Instagram as well. That said, if you want the best how to do graffiti tutorials anywhere online, you can check those out right up here, with more graffiti content right down here, and I'll catch you guys back here next week. Thanks for watching.